So, I just finished the book of the month for January. It's February now, so goes to show I really didn't enjoy this book as much. This is the third book from this author I've read, and I much more thoroughly enjoy his other two books I've read, even to the point of glazing it. It's genuinely so good, so much better. The first one I really liked was Illusions, and then I followed up with Jonathan Livingston, which I think that's the more popular book. But two very good books, and I feel like they do the same exact thing that this book is trying to say, but much better and honestly, much more enjoyable to read. Because, I don't know, the characters were just better, and that's kind of the biggest problem I have with this book. It was that I really just didn't enjoy the dynamic between Richard and his wife, which is, I don't know if they wrote it together, but every time she speaks, it just does not sound like a woman was talking. Like, I'm casting doubt. I don't think she wrote a single lick of this book. And the second end is that the story itself, I feel like it's just repetition. I feel like it got its point across from like probably the 5th chapter, and I was like, okay, I get what's going on. It seems like a lot of these characters are like, oh yeah, you're a ghost, that's cool, and they get over it really quickly, which I guess is fine because the chapters are relatively short. Each chapter pretty much, like for the most part, is a new situation. These two characters who already don't talk naturally to talk even more unnaturally because they're just kind of following through the plot. Like they'll encounter a problem and then have an answer for that problem 2 paragraphs or a page later. It's just like, it's like they learned their lesson immediately, and I just didn't enjoy them. I'll be honest, there were some cool chapters. They go to this guy and he has this sacred scroll. That's a really good one. I liked the little war games one where it's like, this is a world without war, because they gamified dogfighting. Like, the main character visits a version of him where he is just like without his wife, and that's where like I was just like because it's just kind of cringe. But he does ask some pretty interesting questions, being like, okay, do you do this, do you do that? And it's good introspection. Like, the themes itself are not bad. I think the delivery and execution was awful, and I think pretty much 40 or 50% of this book could have been cut. They visit this like warlord, like that's old. I think it was called a Tika, but I did not give. I didn't care. Like, I get what they were saying. They were like, oh, you could be, really horrible, but that's still you. You're a version of everybody, and everybody's a version of you. They really spell out the metaphor for you. Like, I think that's what I really don't like about this book. Versus, I think, Illusions and Jonathan Livingston, the metaphor can, like, it's spelled out there, but because it's a shorter book, it doesn't feel like it's repeating itself. And also, for a lot of people, the metaphor will just go straight over their head. Like, Illusions and Jonathan Livingston do the exact same thing this book does, to a more enjoyable read and a much shorter read as well. Jonathan Livingston is like 1 or 2 hours to read. Illusions probably 3 or 4. It's so much quicker than this book, which I had to just, like, it felt like a slog sometimes. If this is something new to you, I would not start off with this book. Like, I would not start off with Richard Box 1. I would start with Illusions, then Jonathan Livingston, or either. You can interchangeably start with that, but definitely if you want to read more, you can read into this, but I don't think you have to. So I give it, like, out of 5 stars, probably like a 2.5. I won't lie. It was a slog. It's got some good points, but I think it was done much better before. That's pretty much it. See ya.